Alright, let's go see how the comments are doing on this video today. Thunderclap review. Chris, try and review the QiYi Thunderclap. Why don't you review the Thunderclap? Do you have a review on the Thunderclap? We're waiting for the Thunderclap review. Are you going to review the Thunderclap? How did you set up your Thunderclap? Can you review the Thunderclap? Thunderclap review. Has Cyotheking made a review on the Thunderclap? Alright, you guys win. I'll make a Thunderclap review. Alright, here we go. Start the video now. The reason I love the Thunderclap so much is its amazing performance and its price. Coming in at $9, it's quite a bit cheaper than most flagship 3x3s, and its performance is 100% on par with everything else on the market. The Thunderclap is a very versatile cube, and I believe it can be set up to most people's preferences. Most 3x3s that came out this year, you couldn't really get to feel all that different, like the Gans 356, Aolong GT, Hualong, and so on. Most of these, even after lubing and breaking in, had a very similar feel to when they came out of the box. The Thunderclap can really be anything you want it to be. Out of the box, it's scratchy and has kind of a hard plastic feeling. But if you lube it with a bunch of Traxxas 50K, it becomes very buttery and smooth. And if you wanted to retain the out-of-the-box feeling, I imagine if you used Maru, it would retain the scratchiness and kind of hard plastic feel. So I think if you play with different lubes on it, you can really get this to be anything you want. Whereas with other cubes, I felt that no matter how many different times I tried to lube it, they felt roughly the same as to when I got them. Out of the box, it's pretty scratchy, and when you cut corners, it feels very harsh and snappy. But I believe this is one of those cubes that you should do 100 plus solves at least before you lube it. Maybe I'm just a little old school, but back in the day, we used to have to break in the cubes, like solve it a bunch before you lubed it to get the max performance out of it. And these days, you don't have to do that as much, but I believe the Thunderclap is one of those cubes where you should do it just based on how it feels out of the box. But after doing that and then lubing mine is now buttery smooth and very fast, but still controllable. And you can really shape the cube depending on what you lube it with. My lubing method for the Thunderclap was actually pretty lame, but it worked great. I just took a bottle of Traxxas 50K and dumped a bunch inside the cube. Everyone seems to be against the over lubing method, but you need to understand that all you have to do is break in that lube and then it becomes amazing. Everyone who has tried my over lubed Thunderclaps or 4x4s has loved them. Pops are something that just don't happen. I've done thousands of solves on it and have yet to even come close to having a pop on it. And I wouldn't say my tensions are exactly tight. They're probably more towards the loose end, so as long as you're not using some ridiculously loose tension, pops shouldn't even be a concern at all. Honestly, there are only two flaws that I can find with the Thunderclap. The first is that it does corner twist occasionally. It's probably every 1 in 20 solves or so not a big deal for me because it pretty much never happens. But if you've been used to the squared off corner design from other cubes, the corner twisting is probably going to bother you. And the second thing is that the center cap design kind of sucks. QiYi used a design where the cap basically covers the whole centerpiece, and a lot of people when they get the cube couldn't actually figure out how to take it off. If you don't have the cube disassembled, you can use a knife to pull up on it, or if you have the cube disassembled, you can just use your finger to pull up underneath it. Beyond the center caps, the design of the cube is pretty standard, nothing overly special about the other pieces. Another thing that I love about the Thunderclap is that it just flows really well. A lot of cubes these days don't seem to flow very well, and it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just like when you turn, it cuts through everything and doesn't have any minor catches. A lot of cubes use really weird designs, and I think some of the weird things inside of it make them catch. Obviously, I'm not a cube designer, but that's just how it feels to me, and the Thunderclap being a more basic design doesn't really have much for it to catch on inside, and I find that it just flows super well. The corner cutting is also great. It's over 45 degrees for normal cuts and 2/3 reverse, but with its lightweight, great speed and controllable feel, I feel that I lock up less even compared to cubes that have better corner cutting. The Thunderclap is definitely my favorite cube right now. It's easy to set up, it has great performance, and it's cheap. Whereas other cubes like the Gans 356 are expensive and very hard for someone newer to set up. I'm not saying that the Gans can't be a great cube, but for someone newer, it's a lot more difficult. I don't think I could recommend the Thunderclap more. If you're new and looking for a great cube, definitely check out the Thunderclap because you won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.